Hey guys, it's Scott with Scottie B Cards, and in this video I want to discuss the Franco allegations. So recently, Franco has been accused of doing some very inappropriate things and things that could land him into jail and get him out of professional baseball for the rest of his life. And these accusations, I don't want to go too deep into them because, there's a bunch of other places that look at that. I want to talk about the impact on sports cards, the relevancy of sports cards, and how that all works. But at the end of the day, this is bigger than sports cards because Franco was accused of being in a relationship with a minor. If true, Franco is scum for this. But if not true, which it could possibly not be true, then it's one of those situations where it's just a scary reality of what it's like investing in modern sports cards, right? Because if it's not true, it just shows that this could be true. But if it is true, which there's always that potential, it's a lot bigger deal than just baseball cards. But first thing I want to say is Franco is innocent until proven guilty. Just because someone in the Dominican Republic accused him of doing something does not make it actually true. And at the same time, all of this could be fabricated. So Major League Baseball is investigating. I don't want to jump to conclusions and say that it is true, but we're going to work under the assumption of if this were to happen and were to be the case, what's the consequence for his cards? Because that's kind of what the point of this video is. But I do want to say they're accusations and nothing is definitive yet. But I just want to show you, Franco is someone I was proactively speculating on. I have not been buying his cards because I don't really buy cards past 2018 for ultra modern. Maybe I'll buy some parallels of Mookie Betts or Zach Greinke or people like that. But I do think Franco has the potential in the long run to be a very good Major League Baseball player and has Hall of Fame potential. So I actually made a video. The three picks I made were Ronald Acuna Jr., I picked Franco, and I picked Jacob deGrom to have good years. I was right about two of them having good years. Ronald Acuna Jr. currently is the front runner for the National League MVP, and Franco, he is having a breakout year with 5.4 WAR, on pace for 7 to 8 WAR currently, but now this is all happening, which is unfortunate. But regardless, that video has not aged well now. I even made a follow-up video saying hey, I actually picked correctly on these two, which is great, and I explained the market values of all the cards, and now they've dropped even more for Franco because of this situation and circumstance. So I just want to highlight the harsh realities of investing and collecting specific players and spending big dollars on these type of players. People were putting tens of thousands of dollars into Franco. People are currently putting tens of thousands of dollars into prospects that haven't made it to the big leagues, and even established veterans in the big leagues that don't have their career completely wrapped up. And that's the danger of buying these type of cards. And I want to discuss the different types of dangers and what they are and some examples of those individuals. The first one is off the field issues. Here are the photos of the allegation of him with a minor, which is unfortunate. She's actually wearing his chain here and he has the same chain here just to show that they might have a situation. But there's also other players like Trevor Bauer as another very recent one with off-field issues. And even if the Trevor Bauer, he was actually innocent according to the law, then it still goes to show how much it's hurt his brand and his collectability in the sports card hobby. And then we have Yasiel Puig. If you actually look at Yasiel Puig's stats, you can see in 2013 and 2014, he was Julio Rodriguez before Julio Rodriguez existed. Maybe not quite as good in regards to, wins above replacement, but you can see he was a 300 hitter with an OPS plus of 159 his rookie year and 145 his sophomore year from the ages 22 and 23 on the Dodgers. An electric personality, one that was really controversial back in that era. And then we can see over here, I actually just went to Card Ladder and looked at the most expensive Yasiel Puig cards, and you can see some of them are selling for $2,000 to $5,000. Fast forward to today, because we all know Yasiel Puig burnt out and he had a bunch of off the field issues in regards to legalese as well as a bunch of other stuff. And we can see the Yasiel Puig Superfractor sold for less than $2,000. If Yasiel Puig was a prospect today, I guarantee you that Superfractor would be hundreds of thousands of dollars after those first 2 years. That's just the way that we're approaching the hobby, and to see it be $2,000 just shows the downside of someone like Franco. If this situation is a true thing that happened, then this is the future of his cards, right? Yasiel Puig technically has done much more in the big leagues than Franco has done up to this point. Steroids. This is another really big one, and there's only really two current modern stars in the last 10 years that were true superstars that have really been hit with steroids, and that's Tatis and Robinson Cano. This is Robinson Cano's very best rookie autograph card. This is his earliest autograph card, and it might not be his Bowman Chrome first base card, but this is his first auto. And I just bought this one for $20 earlier this week because I couldn't believe it goes for $20. I think it's a great card of one of the best second basemen of all time. Will he be in the Hall of Fame? Most likely not. He got hit with 2 steroid suspensions after it was very established it was a bad thing. But regardless, $20 for that just shows the downside of this type of situation with steroids. On top of that, we see Tatis. This gold refractor was going for about $45,000 at the peak, and the last one just sold for $7,800, which I actually think is probably still too much considering he's not having that great of a year. I know his WAR is around 4, but that's because he has a really high defensive WAR, but his offense, he has a sub 800 OPS and less than 20 home runs, even though he missed a month or so of the season. He's not really living up to who he was prior to the suspension and prior to his injuries, so it's yet to be seen if he's the same guy. And had this card still be $7,800, it shows there's ways to drop still, in my personal opinion. Here is his PSA 10. This card was upwards of $10,000. $9,563 was the highest sale right here at the peak, and now it goes for $1,500, which again still seems pretty high, considering that's like more than Nolan Arenado, Mookie Betts, Bryce Harper, and players like that. My point is, steroids will have a major impact on cards. We're seeing it from the highs of Fernando Tatis Jr., but we actually can see how low they can go with someone like Robinson Cano. People can say it's a different situation, but either way, he has that label on him and it has affected his cards. After that, we have injury risk and performance risk. I included these together because a lot of the performance risk is actually due to injury. There's a few very specific cases where injury is something that you can actually see what happened and how that works. We can see Tony Conigliaro right here. He was actually hit in a really terrible injury right in the eye, made him never be the same player. In his age 20 season, he actually led the American League in home runs for the Boston Red Sox and was on pace to be a great ball player, and that essentially ended his career. He still played, but was never the same guy. Then we have David Wright for the Mets. On this play, he dove and hit his face and hurt his shoulder on the ground after tagging this player out, and that really hurt his career. We can see David Wright from 2004 to 2013. This is through his age 30 season. He had 46.5 WAR, 301 batting average, a 137 OPS plus, a 222 home runs, well on the way to the Hall of Fame, and he ended his career with 49.2 WAR, so only 3 more WAR after age 30, and only 242 home runs and a 133 OPS plus. So it just shows, just because a player's on a Hall of Fame path through age 30, generally 45 WAR or more is pretty good metric to look at, maybe even 40 WAR. You can still have things that happen like injuries or poor performance. And the other player I highlighted on here is Dustin Pedroia. Manny Machado cleated Dustin Pedroia and essentially ended his career. I'm sure Boston Red Sox fans have some hatred for Manny Machado because of this. He had some dirty stuff happen, and it's unfortunate, but it actually hurt Dustin Pedroia so much. He basically only came back for a little bit, but was never the same. Up until his age 32 season, he had 52.5 WAR, a 114 OPS plus, an MVP, a 300 batting average, and I think he was on pace, arguably, for the Hall of Fame. But after his injury, his OPS plus, he never really played again. We can see he went from 52.5 WAR to 51.9 WAR, and his OPS plus did drop, and he just never had that many at-bats, and he actually went below 300 for his batting average at 299, which is unfortunate. So we can just see there is the injury risk, the performance risk. Even if a player seems like they're a lock, something like Tony Conigliaro can happen, something like David Wright, who feels like a surefire Hall of Famer, can happen, someone who's a fan favorite like Pedroia can happen. These players may still carry value, but I promise you these players' cards would be doing significantly better if it wasn't for the respective injuries and performance risks. I also highlighted Don Mattingly right here as another situation where hurt his back, where he was obviously one of the most important players in Yankee history. That might be kind of dramatic to say, but he was a pillar of the organization for a decade. So that's why I do think Don Mattingly should be mentioned as well as someone who was hurt due to injury. And the last one is passing away, and this one's one of the more tragedies of baseball. We actually have Jose Fernandez, Yordano Ventura, and Oscar Taveras. We actually have a really cool card right here I just wanted to highlight of Jose Fernandez hugging a dinosaur on his opening day short print from this year. And I just want to show you something crazy. This is the 2013 Top 100 Major League Baseball prospect list. There is Oscar Taveras, there's Jose Fernandez, and Tyler Skaggs. 3 of the 10 players have passed away. And so it just shows it does happen. We are all human, and we all have the human experience of living and also dying. And so if that's the case with these players, just be aware that can affect sports cards, and you have to be considerate of that when buying these cards and knowing that this is the reality of cards, right? People can pass away, people can have injury risk and performance risk, people do steroids and very inappropriate things, and players do illegal things which can put them into jail and completely end their career. And so I just want to take a step back. Am I saying modern baseball cards are wrong? No, just understand these risks. That's the main thing I want to say. These risks exist, and I didn't even highlight all of them, I would argue. And just don't buy more cards than you're comfortable losing. I kind of put that here, but like buy what you like and be comfortable losing what like those cards are worth, and just keep the cards that you like. If you like the cards, it isn't quite as painful when things go wrong. Things will go wrong, and that's just the kind of the reality of sports cards. But I do want to point out there's like this big movement where sports cards can't be investments. They still technically can be investments. They just can. Maybe collecting is more like what people want to do now, but I think all of us want our cards to go up if you buy players for the long term, and that's investing. So, but just know sports cards and modern sports cards can be incredibly risky just because it's all supply and demand. There's no true value to these sports cards. It's just what somebody will pay because it's literally a cardboard picture of someone playing a sport or an autograph of somebody, and anything can change in the moment. But my one thing I do want to point out is sports cards are fun, and there's risk in all of this type of situation. And if it's too risky for you, don't buy it from that perspective, because there are situations that can be unfortunate. And the last thing is, good luck, Wander Franco collectors. I hope the truth of what happens comes out, and if Wander Franco's innocent, then that's great, so he can keep playing baseball. And if Wander Franco's guilty, then that way he probably should never play baseball again and is facing a jail sentence most likely. I don't know what the rules will be for the Dominican Republic, that's where it happened, or what the full situation is, and that's what we have to wait and find out. But other than that, guys, I just wanted to point this out. It's a good reminder of how to just understand that there is risk for surefire players like Wander Franco. Other than that, thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.